Welcome back to another Once Human video. Today we're going to be covering the MP7 Power Surge build. This gun is a laser beam machine. It spits bullets, it eats your gunpowder, but what matters the most is the damage. It has it all. This gun can be obtained from Wish Machine by either RNGing it from Echoes from the Rift. If you click exclamation mark here, you can read about this category, everything it drops. However, the best way to get this blueprint is press G on Wish Machine, go to SMG Blueprint and just buy the MP7 Outer Space. The stats for this gun is 25% chance to trigger Power Surge when hitting an enemy. So, when you shoot, you have a 25% chance to proc the electrical thing that you see on the target. But instead of 1, we're getting 2. And the reason for that is because we are wearing these Mayfly goggles. So if I equip these goggles, you will see only 1. When you wear these goggles, they say Power Surge, Trigger Count +1, and Power Surge Damage -30%. Now, I hate how I hover my mouse on it and it just disappears, so you would probably have to pause the video to read its stats. But we're using this helmet for this gun, and it's a must to have for this gun. As for now, how Power Surge works is if you go your inventory, click Blueprints, go to SMG, right-click your gun, go Details, scroll down, click X on keyboard. Here, we will see Power Surge, Continuous Debuff, Instant Damage, deal status damage of 50% PSI intensity once and inflict Power Surge status for 6 seconds, accuracy -40%. So you will do that electrical thingy, and whenever you proc that electrical thing, it will remove accuracy for other players. So as we read, you will lose 40 accuracy for 6 seconds, and it is a shock element. The additional damage cannot crit, cannot strike weak spots, and will not decay with distance. So this damage depends heavily on PSI intensity and status damage and shock element bonus damage. The damage does not decay by distance. Compared to Unstable Bomber, the damage decays over the explosion distance. Compared to Shrapnel, cannot strike weak spots and will decay with distance. The 3 elements that do not decay with distance is Burn, Frost Vortex, and Power Surge. The factor for this is 50% of PSI intensity multiplied by Power Surge damage bonus and multiplied by Power Surge final damage bonus. All these damage bonuses can be found in your inventory, gear, press C, scroll down, status damage bonus 1, shock damage bonus 2, and there's actually a Power Surge damage bonus, but you cannot see it, so, alright, let me equip my gun. You can see we have Power Surge damage bonus. So that's 1 status, 2 shock, and 3 Power Surge damage bonus. These things increase our electricity damage. The blue procs that you see. So now going back to the MP7 Outer Space. After you defeat an enemy, Power Surge trigger chance is increased by 30% based on weapons trigger chance for 12 seconds. The weapons trigger chance is 25%, so that would be 25% multiplied by 30%, and then we will be increasing 7.5% trigger chance when you kill an enemy. So from 25% we'll go to 32.5% trigger chance. After you reload, Power Surge trigger factor is increased by 40% based on the weapons trigger chance for 3 seconds. Power Surge trigger factor plus 40% based on weapons trigger chance. So this is just a passive. You just always have that plus 40% trigger chance. So now whenever you hold the gun, boom, you have that 40% trigger chance. Although it is a multiplicative, it's a chance bonus. It's not going to your base trigger chance. So our weapon is 25% to trigger. When you shoot the gun and reload, go to our gear, you can see Power Surge trigger chance bonus increases to 80%. That is because when you shoot and reload, on the bottom near your health bar, you can see that, oh boom, there's some buff appearing. That's just for 3 seconds, you are increasing your trigger chance. Boom, again, it repairs. So whenever you reload the gun, you will get that 40% bonus to trigger more of these procs. So now that we know how the gun works, let's actually calculate how much you get to trigger the Power Surge. 25%, we take that, and then after you reload, that's plus 40%. That's 10% that we get for just reloading. So now the trigger chance is 35% instead of 25% when you reload. We take the 40% because it's always there. The 40% trigger bonus is always there. So that's 25% plus 40%. That's another 10%. Our trigger chance should be 52.5% if we reload and if we kill an enemy. However, if you don't reload the gun, don't kill an enemy, then our trigger chance of Power Surge would be 45%. That's basically how this gun works. It does not have any damage bonuses. It's just pure triggering of Power Surge. For Power Surge, you will need PSI intensity, so try to upgrade your armor as much as you can. I'm using a scout mask that is 4 stars. You can see it for like a split second, but I hate how this game just does that. You hover your mouse over it and it just makes the UI disappear. That is so annoying. But we're using a scout mask 4 star, shelterer gloves 1 star, heavy duty shoes 4 star, heavy duty 1 star here. I messed it up my armor, my fault for that. And then we're using a, well, actually this is wrong pants. This is 1 star calibration 1 pants. I need to use shelter pants actually instead. Make sure you're carrying your gun when you're doing this, because if I don't carry my gun, you can see my PSI intensity drops. Or if I equip a melee weapon, it's 755. So I would have to carry my MP7 to see 868 PSI intensity. So 868, 50% of that would be 434. Press C, you check your status damage bonus. For some reason, it dropped. And the reason it drops is because my character is going AFK. It's annoying. But yeah, 59.2%. We multiply that with 434 and we will get 256. We add that together. Then we scroll down until we see shock damage bonus. Again, my character is doing the AFK thing. So whenever your character does this AFK emote shit like this, your stats are gonna disappear. And then you would have to make the character move again. It's annoying, but then we would have to take shock damage bonus, multiply that as well, multiply the power surge damage bonus. And after I did all my calculations, multiply status damage bonus, multiply shock damage bonus, multiply power surge damage bonus, my power surge damage bonus is 895 per proc. So that's status damage bonus, that's shock damage bonus, and that is power surge damage bonus. All multiplied. I have actually 2 MP7s that I use, the first one being calibrated 10 times, and it has a calibration called plus 20% attack, magazine capacity minus 25%, accuracy minus 50%, or minus 50. And I'm using 2 crit rates for this. Now, I've tried testing crit rate with this gun. I've tried testing elemental damage with this one. Reload speed plus 150%, magazine capacity minus 30%. This is the one I've used. Elemental damage on both calibrations. So far, it seems like this one is doing more damage. However, I don't like the reload speed. So for the mod we use on the gun, it's called Surge Amplifier. This mod is called Static Shock. And this mod is called Shock Rampage. This thing increases your trigger chance by 5% after you proc the power surge. So whenever you see this, it increases the trigger chance by 5% up to 4 stacks. So in total 20%. So since the gun has base 25% to trigger, so if you procced the power surge 4 times, you would get 20% trigger chance bonus. That would turn into 5% because the base trigger chance is 25%. So it could be useful. I don't know, really. You could use this one, power surge status duration minus 50% and power surge damage plus 20%. Or you could use this one, dealing power surge damage grants power surge damage plus 5% for 3 seconds up to 4 stacks. You wouldn't lose the duration. So your power surge will last for 6 seconds instead of 3 if you use the mod. Because power surge, once you inflict that on any player, it lasts for 6 seconds. However, if you use that mod, it would reduce it to 3 seconds because of the minus 50% duration. I don't really know, but these 3 mods are actually good. I think this one would be better though for PvP. For PvE, this one would be better because it doesn't matter. This one's kind of useless. When triggering power surge, apply the power surge status to 1 enemy within 5 meters. I mean, this one's just meh. More trigger chance bonus, so you proc more, or it's just the damage. You get more damage. You might think damage is better, but I mean, the more you proc, or the higher chance you have to proc, that will also do more damage. But anyways, that's the mods for the MP7 gun itself. Let's go to the Mayfly goggles now. Here we're using Fateful Strike. Cannot deal weak spot damage, crit rate plus 10% and crit damage plus 30%. You can use the Fateful Strike or you can use the Deviation Expert, which gives you range minus 25%, fire rate plus 10% and status damage plus 16%. However, this is a purple mod. I am so unlucky with mods in this game. I hate this game, but this also isn't that bad. If I got a legendary, a gold mod, it would be even better. And you probably lose less range and you get more fire rate, I think, as well as status damage. So this is how fast it shoots with a Deviation Expert. That was Deviation Expert. And this is how fast it shoots with Fateful Strike. Yeah. Shoots a little bit slower but does more damage. I personally like both. I cannot decide, honestly. Scout Mask, we are using Thunderclap. After triggering Power Surge 20 times, the next hit summons Celestial. Okay, whatever that word is. Thunder, shock damage of 160% of PSI intensity. Alright, pretty basic. You could use something else. This is not really that great, honestly. You need to proc Power Surge 20 times, which is quite a decent amount. You could use something else, like an HP mod or just a status enhancement. That would be way better than Thunderclap, honestly. But I don't have any mods, bro, because the game is just ass. And if we go to gloves, for gloves we're using crit amplifier, crit rate plus 5%, crit damage plus 15%, status damage. You want to get substats, status damage, crit damage, weapon damage, max HP. I mean, these things. If you care about PvP, then status damage reduce and stuff. You could use a crit rate or status enhancement, but crit rate actually, if you use crit rate, you would basically not benefit from crit damage, so you will crit more but do less crit damage, which in general just, I don't know, does less damage. So that's why I'm going with crit amplifier. For boost, we're using covered advance. There's no better mod than this, honestly. This mod is really great. A better mod would be slow and steady, but this mod gives you plus 20% weapon and status damage without conditions. So the slow and steady one, it gives you only 10%, and then it gives you 10% additionally after your HP is above 90%. So that condition is always being above 90% HP, which is kind of annoying. Compared though, covered advance and slow and steady are the only two good ones that you should use. Both is good. For top, we are using a status enhancement, nothing else really, just a damage boost. Status damage plus 12%, crit damage plus 9%. You could use any defense mod like Enduring Shield, Resist Advantage, but bro, these mods are so buggy. The developers release the game, and then there's like 1000 bugs in the game. Who would have thought the game is ready for release? Anyways, for pants, we are using a Bullet Siphon mod, weapon damage plus 5%. Every 5 bullets consumed in the magazine grants 4% weapon damage, capped at 20%. You can use this, or you can use status amplification. When the magazine is empty, status damage plus 10% for 12 seconds, up to 3 stacks. So you would get plus 30% status damage, but however, whenever you're doing this, you would need to fully empty your mag, like this. And then you will get, as you can see on the bottom left, I got an increased status damage by 10%. Now, if I keep firing, I will keep getting more and more and more and more damage. But you can see now it's 2. Boom, that effect disappears here, elemental amplifier. But if you reload, you cannot reload on 1 bullet. You cannot reload on 5 bullets. You need to reload on 0 bullets. So I wouldn't really say this is a good mod for this build. So that's why I go with Bullet Siphon. I don't really know what other mod to use here. As for the ammo types, again, you basically need to use SMG AP ammo, which is this. Make sure you select gunpowder though. Damage per shot plus 15%, you'll get that. Basically, your white damage is going to be higher. If you use gold ore ammo, which gives you triggering shock or unstable bomber, increases PSI intensity by 12% for 3 seconds. If you trigger power surge, you'll just get an increased PSI intensity by 12% for 3 seconds, basically. This ammo is very expensive, so it would be better to probably just use gunpowder and just use this ammo for like wars or something. You can use this ammo for like PvP, normal PvP. And I like to use I always use steel ammo for everything else. Sometimes I even use steel ammo for PvP actually, and it works fine. As long as your build is optimized. But for farming, this works perfectly. Some people tell me to use this crossbow so you do more damage, summon the deviant, and then you wait till, you know, like... You can see how higher the damage is when you summon the deviant and you shoot with the crossbow, but like, I don't like inflating numbers, so I just show my damage without any buffs, without any inflating, so like this. This is the actual damage that I do. Now, the damage, this is not true damage because the dummy is considered as a deviant. The dummy is actually a deviant, so you do more damage to it. To players, you'll do way less damage because players are not deviants. Also, I wish the devs made it so we can change the type of the deviant, for example, to a humanoid or a human or a normal zombie or Rosetta. But yeah, the dummy is a deviant type. As for the Cradle, the most important buffs you need to use is automatic weapon enhancement plus 20% damage when holding SMGs. Important, need that. I'm using a sniper, so I need this. Deviation Master grants 50% damage against deviants. I mean, this is just for inflating damage when you summon your deviant. I don't really use this. We use something like this. Damage reduction 50% when rolling. for 4 seconds. Then we have to have status enhancement after hitting a weak spot, status damage plus 25% for 3 seconds. You'll just do more damage. Right now, look at this, 689. If I shoot in the head, then I do 993. Huge damage boost. You need the status enhancement. And remember, if you use Fateful Strike, it says right here, cannot deal weak spot damage. That doesn't matter. You're still hitting weak spots. If you hit a weak spot, you will see purple damage. That is a weak spot hit. Fateful Strike does not disable your weak spot hits. It just makes you not do weak spot damage. Alright? Don't get confused. Next up is the tactical combo. Weapon damage plus 25% for 4 seconds after switching weapons or reloading. You need that. It's a good damage boost. Why not? Take it. Next up is the after triggering a power surge. Power surge damage is plus 25% for 3 seconds. Really great. Have to have that. Then after reloading, instant damage. Power surge in unstable bomber. 25% for 4 seconds. You also need this. And then lastly, I have sprint. Don't really have to use that. You can use something else like this if you like. Or I don't know. This one is also important. Actually, instead of that, I normally use it like that. By the way, last thing, let's go to season goals and phases. The new phase opens in 18 hours. This build is for phase 2. It's not for phase 1. It's not for phase 3. On phase 3, there will be way better mods that we will get, which we could get our damage way higher. But basically, that's all for this build for phase 2. Check out my mods sheet list in the pinned comments. You will be able to see where you can get full mods. All these mods that I've obtained for this gun were obtained from looting crates. Some of the mods are not obtainable from silos or monoliths. You have to loot crates to get these mods. As for phase 3, we will unlock a hard mode dungeon, I believe. And on phase 4, we will unlock a new boss fight, which is the Forsaken Giant, or Mens de Warren. Anyways, ladies and gents, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace out.